Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what we think is going to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button, I do appreciate that, and if you happen to be new to the channel then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications and you will not miss another video update. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7, it's completely free and I don't think you'd be disappointed by what you find down there. We actually spend a lot more time in the Discord server than we do on the YouTube or the Twitch channels, etc. So you actually get a little bit more from Cheeky Crypto down in Discord. Now, if you're looking for more than above and beyond what's in there for free, then there are, of course, the Patreon services. Now, the Patreon services, we actually cover a lot more for Patreon members via Discord. Everything from what Chris and myself are doing in terms of buying, selling, and staking, the kind of buy zones from various different altcoins that I'm looking at, all the way through to project reviews, AMAs twice weekly, and even some trading. So if that sounds of interest to you, check it out. Link is in the description below. Okay, let's make a start with this though. So this is going to be a brief Bitcoin update. So here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source. Now, following on from yesterday afternoon's video, we saw a breakdown in Bitcoin. This was same time, it didn't quite reach this higher end that we were looking for. And as I was saying in that video, it looked like it was going to be an ending diagonal that either had finished or just hadn't quite gotten there yet. So we can now confirm that yes, it had actually finished it, and our fifth wave was right up here, a little bit short of our typical kind of fifth wave kind of expectations. Now, this isn't unusual by any stretch of the imagination. It's just one of those things that just can happen from time to time, where we just don't have a impulsive end. We actually just have an ending diagonal structure. Now, one of the things that we did yesterday was enter into a short position with our Patreon members, and we scoped this out because of what we saw, right? And I talk about these things occasionally from time to time, and I think it's actually a good example to kind of explain it to you guys. So over this side here, we see this bearish candle. This is a bearish engulfing candle, and this is actually a key kind of candle for reversal in structure, right? So we had these kind of really big bearish candles here, but they weren't bearish engulfing in the same way that this particular one is, okay? And this one was also very close, but the wick on the green candle, the bullish one, is actually higher than the wick of the bearish one, okay? So when we're actually looking at all of these and we're looking for really bearish engulfing candles, this was actually the first one that was actually a very, very clear sign. So this was actually a really good place to get into a short position, and we know we broke all the way down. Now, from that breakdown, what do we actually see? Well, we can actually grab hold of a 5-wave structure and we can start to map out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now I'm actually just going to make this yellow again. So let's go into yellow there. So basically this 5-wave structure marks this first move to the downside. Now, if all of this is a wave 2 upwards, as we've been speculating, then we'll be looking for 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, right? So we'll be looking for a wave 2 to retrace upwards. Now, momentum-wise, it looks like it's really interesting. Doesn't look like there's a huge amount of momentum to take us up there. However, with that being said, I wouldn't be too surprised if a wick just goes crazy and does take us actually up to those higher ranges. Okay, so my expectations on this, I'm going to move it to here for now, but it does come up to this resistance line at about 19,530. The one-to-one at the moment is actually 19,538. Okay, but that's assuming that we're done where we are, which it possibly isn't. Okay, so we're looking for 3 waves essentially. Okay, we'll go up here with 1, down here for 2, and then up to, I think, this resistance, which would make the most amount of sense, at 19,530. Okay, that would then allow us to see 5 down, 3 up, and of course what happens after you have those is you tend to go into another 5-wave move down, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, this next 5-wave move down can of course be a couple of different things. One, it could be 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, and this has to hit 1.618 times that of the first 5 waves. Or alternatively, it's a 1-to-1 ratio with our 5 waves here, and it's just 5, 3, 5, and it's exactly the same size as the first 5 waves. Okay, so there's the 2 options that we kind of have that are kind of visible to us at the moment. Now, With this structure, I'm going to actually remove this yellow box up here now because we are technically done with this one, so we can just move that away. I do want to kind of leave this one in there for a moment, but I think what I'm going to do is probably adjust it to being over here a little bit more. And I think there's a bit of a range. I'm going to put it down here on the lower side, and that would be that one, 19,510 for now. This little dashed line is also going to be moved. We're going to move this up to our top of our wave 1 structure just up here because that's going to be invalidation. Okay, let's talk about these things. So on our little structures here, we've got the 5 waves coming down. We've got these theoretical 3 waves going up. Okay, that seems a little bit hard pushed right now, but that's kind of where we are. Now, with this, we've kind of got these kind of candles right here. Okay, you can see that we never close below this dashed line, okay, that I just put in. This is basically an area of support, okay, and it's an area that needs to be tested, in my opinion, to become a resistance. So when we start thinking about 3 waves and where they're going, this 19,510 seems to be the area that I would be focusing in on as that potential area of resistance. So the previous area of support becomes resistance, okay? That would marry up nicely with 3 waves, but it's hard to think that we're going there under the current structure here. It looks really, really bearish, right? But I don't know what's going to cause it, but I'm expecting some kind of movement. Could be rapid, could be really slow, just to grind us up to this kind of C wave high point before we can start to move back down again. Now, the momentum is actually quite high here on the 1 hour chart, meaning that actually there's more of a chance of a breakdown. But the 4 hourly chart is oversold, so I'm expecting some kind of move upwards, and I think that's kind of where we need to be. The 8 hour chart's come down quite nicely, so a nice move back up like we had seen previously wouldn't be hard missed either. On the daily chart, we're progressing nicely. We're not overbought, not oversold, but it would be nice to get this up into the overbought area at some point soon so that we can start talking about the next big catalyst move to the downside. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much geared up quite nicely. And as you can kind of see on our stochastic RSI multi-time frame indicator here, the 1 hour is not overbought or oversold. The 4 hour is oversold and the monthly is oversold. Everything else is somewhere in between. So for the most part, everything's looking okay. You can see that we're just testing these lows now, just trying to push this in a little bit here, but I think that the expectation is to have the move upwards. Failure to have this move upwards could be more of a zigzag kind of 535 kind of structured pattern. Now, my typical kind of expectations on this, if I grab it from the high to the low here, and I grab a little yellow box, is going to be basically 88.2, which is going to be up here at 19,632, down to that 50% level at 19,396. Okay, so this little yellow box is the area that you would expect things to retrace into. And for the most part, you can argue that we've kind of already done it with this wick here, but it doesn't meet 3 waves just yet. Not unless I dive down properly into like a 15-minute chart to find 3 waves in that little area, which is one possibility. But essentially, I'm looking at this as a need and a requirement to kind of push up a little bit more. My main focus, $19,500. I think that's kind of where the next resistance levels are really going to come in and get met. But I could be wrong. It'll be one of those to kind of keep an eye on, see how things progress. But for the most part, my expectations are that Bitcoin on this hourly chart moves to the downside. Now, let's go ahead and get rid of the stocks and zoom back out and actually talk about a bigger picture, because I think essentially this is 5 down, 3 up, which meets our wave 2 expectations here, and we're starting this 5 wave move down, okay, or this wave 3 move down. Now, it could be 535, and this is actually just zigzagging in here, or 535, just to meet the expectations of this move here, right? Now, under those kind of premise, this is when we had that perfect 1.618 retracement there. If we move this over to this high point, then now it's going to take us down to here. However, this is a really significant chunk of that already, and you can see that we've come down to the 618. I don't think that is likely that we're just going to have a 1-to-1, because that 5 wave move would have had to have been smaller. You can see the scale of these things already. So instead, I'm thinking that we're going to be heading down a lot deeper than that. And let me remove this fib off here and actually go ahead and take this measurement once more. If I take it from this low to this high here, move this over into the beginning of this 5 wave move here, and we can start to say, okay, well, actually our 1.618 is now here, so we'll go ahead and adjust that. And basically that one actually comes in at 169.86, so 18,169.86. Okay, that's going to be our potential kind of wave 3 right there. Okay, so now we can start to think, actually, does that potentially does make a lot more sense. Okay, and then we can start bringing this up, and we can bring this up here as well. Okay, and now we start to think, okay, well, there's 5 waves coming down right there. Now we have this 5 wave. Right now we could have this as a zigzag pattern, and if that's the case, and this is the thing with these kind of structures, guys, market structure is very, very important. We can't just focus in on the kind of the micro level, because this would actually indicate down to 17,723, and obviously we got that one down here on the 1.618 trigger point, that 16,475, that's going to be the super bearish scenario. This could be a wave 1, for example, wave 2 coming up, wave 3 coming down, hitting somewhere around here, 4 and 5 and so forth, right? So there's a lot of things to be thinking about as we start to nest these things together. The 1-to-1 ratio would put us down here somewhere at that 17,723. That would be a zigzag pattern. That could also be a possibility. Basically just looking for that kind of double bottom with June, for example. Lots of things to kind of think about. Let's do down over here, for example, right? So I think it's one of those. It's we can sometimes get a bit too carried away with the kind of the short-term view with what is going on. But for now, I think that we have to enjoy the kind of moves that we can see happening here on the hourly chart. You can see that we're really getting pushed back down now. Invalidation of this structure comes in here. So basically, if we drop down lower than this 5th wave low, then we're probably already starting the next 5 wave drop, 19,091. So I just keep an eye on that, right? My expectations are a move upwards, but if we cross this level, then there's only one other pattern that would allow for that, and that's going to be an expanding flat. So we go up in 3, we come down in 3, then we have to go up in 5, and it just expands out. That's the only possibility that could happen if we want to be bullish about anything under 9, if we drop down lower than $19,091. Okay, so for the most part, my expectations are up, where we kind of come up into this range a little bit here, then we break on down. That's kind of what I'm thinking here for Bitcoin, and obviously the bigger play is pretty bearish at the moment. There isn't actually too much to get too excited about in terms of moves to the upside. All the moves to the upside are short-term corrective bounces. A bit of relief rallies after significant sell-offs. But liquidation grabs are a thing. They happen a fair amount, so do watch out for those as well. Guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.